The Allen Line Company appreciates all of the dedicated carriers it takes to move loads across the U.S. Stay safe.
OOIDA, representing America's truckers since 1973, presents Landline Now with your host, Scott Thompson.
Welcome to the show. Scott here, filling in for host Mark Reddick this week. We'll get to today's news here in just a moment, and after that, we've got a good mix for you, starting with a truck driving school in Arizona that has a unique instructor on staff, a chicken. That's right, a chicken. His name is Chester, and we'll speak with the school's site manager about Chester's role and the positive attention he's brought to the school. Then the newest issue of Landline magazine is hot off the press, and the EPA's new emission standards are the cover story. The magazine's editorial staff tell us why they decided to dedicate so much of the July issue to the topic and explain why the EPA's lofty ambitions currently fail the smell test. And then we'll cap the show off by taking a trip to Ohio, where the DOT has been busy of late facilitating the movement of superloads throughout the state. Full details of the loads themselves and a behind-the-scenes look at the planning that goes into getting them safely from point A to point B. All that and more coming up. But first, the news with Ashley Blackford.
Thanks, Scott. If you haven't commented on transparency of towing fees yet, you still have some time. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration is giving industry stakeholders another month to submit comments regarding the transparency of towing fees. FMCSA announced it would extend the comment period through August 1st. FMCSA said it extended the comment period to provide interested parties the opportunity to share their perspectives on current industry practices regarding the disclosure of towing fees to the commercial motor vehicle owners and whether the owner is made aware of costs and fees prior to the tow. To add your comments, you can visit regulations.gov and enter docket number FMCSA-2024-0124. Just 3 weeks after a landslide took out a portion of the Teton Pass, a temporary detour has now opened. The Wyoming Department of Transportation opened Highway 22 to traffic at noon on Friday. The department said it wants to reassure highway users that the slide area will be continually monitored as engineers and other professionals now look at designing and planning the reconstruction of the section of highway impacted. The landslide occurred on June 8th. According to the Wyoming DOT, the goal is to have the Teton Pass completely rebuilt before the worst of winter arrives. More than $5.1 million worth of marijuana was found in a tractor-trailer at the Laredo, Texas border crossing recently. U.S. Customs and Border Protection reports that on June 23rd at the World Trade Bridge, a CBP officer referred a 38-year-old Mexican citizen driving a 2009 International tractor hauling a commercial shipment for secondary inspection. The driver was accompanied by a 33-year-old Mexican citizen. Following a canine and non-intrusive inspection examination, CBP officers discovered 98 packages containing a total of 2,323 pounds of alleged marijuana within the trailer. Both the narcotics and tractor-trailer were seized. Both people in the truck were arrested, and an investigation is underway. Another seizure of marijuana to tell you about. More than 1,400 pounds were found in a tractor-trailer at the Pharr International Bridge recently. U.S. Customs and Border Protection reports that on June 17th, officers encountered a truck making entry from Mexico. The tractor-trailer was selected for inspection. After physically inspecting the shipment, officers found 1,267 packages of alleged marijuana weighing 1,455 pounds concealed within the shipment. The alleged marijuana has a street value of more than $291,000. The port director said marijuana no longer is a common drug being smuggled into the United States, but this seizure of this large an amount does illustrate that it indeed still generates income for smuggling organizations. The drugs and truck were seized, and Homeland Security initiated a criminal investigation. An Ontario, Canada man was handed a 12-year prison sentence after he was convicted of importing methamphetamine and possession of the drug for the purpose of trafficking. CBC News reports that 40-year-old Mohammed Abdi Rahman was returning to Canada back in 2019 after driving to California. During that haul, he took a detour to Mexico. When he was trying to re-enter Canada at the Ambassador Bridge, more than 400 pounds of methamphetamine was seized from the inside of the cab of his tractor-trailer. At the time, charges were laid to the Canada Border Services Agency, said it was the largest methamphetamine seizure on record for the CBSA within the past 7 years. During the man's trial, a law enforcement expert testified the drugs were pure and could be worth anywhere between $4.5 million and $29.4 million. His sentence will end in 11 years due to credit for time served. Cross-border freight hauled by trucks went up significantly in April. According to the latest numbers from the Bureau of Transportation Statistics, truck freight valued at more than $90.5 billion was hauled across the borders in April. That was an increase of 5% from March and represented a rise of 11.5% compared to April of last year. This rise is largely the result of a surge in computer-related freight at the southern border. The top 3 truck commodities at both the northern and southern borders were computers and parts, vehicles and parts, and electrical machinery. An hours of service exemption request has been denied by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. Clem Environmental Services, LLC, out of Maryland, requested an exemption from hours of service regulation to allow its drivers up to 14 hours of drive time within the work shift, or alternatively up to 12 hours. The company said that due to the nature of its operations, complying with the 11-hour driving time limit in the hours of service regulations places a strain on the company's drivers and its overall operating costs. FMCSA said it analyzed the application and determined that the exemption likely would not achieve a level of safety that is equivalent to or greater than the level without the exemption. For the first time, a major retailer in Canada has introduced a hydrogen fuel cell electric semi-truck to its fleet. Recently, Nikola announced Walmart Canada has started its journey toward a 100% alternatively powered fleet. The electric truck is on the road in Mississauga, Ontario. According to Nikola, the zero tailpipe emission Class 8 truck has a range of about 800 kilometers or about 500 miles. More than $2 billion has been approved by the California Transportation Commission to improve and maintain the state's transportation system. The funding will go toward a variety of transportation projects, ranging from bridge maintenance and rail system upgrades to rail safety features and increased access for bikers and pedestrians. $17.8 million of the funding will go to improve Highway 99 and State Route 68 in Tulare County. And finally, a trucking school in Arizona has a unique instructor. Yuma Truck Driving School is home to Chester the Chicken, a rooster who made his way onto the school property a couple of years ago and made himself at home. Toby Newman is the school's on-site manager. He explained how Chester's presence at the school came to be.
Well, there's differing opinions to the chicken origin story. The latest info is he was spotted outside the gate, like across the street. So across the street is a little gas station, a very small truck stop. People said they saw him over there first, wandering around for a while, and he eventually made his way over onto our property. I guess he liked it over here better, so we started hanging out here. And so we were like, hey, this chicken's always here. So we started feeding him and putting out bowls of water for him, and he just stuck around. He does sleep next door in the junkyard, which is why I thought he originated from the junkyard originally, but I've been corrected on that.
For the full story on Chester, stay tuned to later in our show. That's Landline Now News for today. I'm Ashley Blackford.
Thanks, Ashley. Got a news tip or maybe a comment about something you heard on the air or a question about something happening in trucking? Email us at landlinenow@ooida.com. Again, that email address is landlinenow@ooida.com. Coming up after this short commercial break, Ashley's back with more of that story from the CDL school in Arizona that's adopted a real-life chicken as a mascot, or did the chicken adopt the CDL training school? A real chicken or the egg scenario. And we've got the answers for you coming up next right here on Landline Now, so please do stick around. We're back right after this.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you want more content, go to landline.media to get updated news, information, and archived editions of our show. Once again, that's landline.media.
Capital Reman is your leading source for quality remanufactured engines and components. Capital Reman stands ready to serve all OOIDA members to help reduce costly engine repairs or replacement. Visit capitalreman.com today and use code OOIDA10 to save.
ULSD is hurting your engine. Fight back with Howe's Diesel Defender. Get the most powerful cleaning and maximum lubricity to protect and extend the life of your entire system. At a guaranteed increase in fuel economy, and you can't go wrong with Howe's.
Dispatch, I picked up that load of steel, so I'm ready to roll.
Sounds good. Remember, we're getting paid by weight, so make sure to use a CAT scale.
I wouldn't weigh anywhere else.
Forget miss accuracy when you're truck on a CAT scale.
It's tested and proven. Burn 2.1% less fuel when you balance all wheel ends with Centromatic. Call 800-523-8473 to get the OOIDA discount.
Landline now, welcome back. Here's a story you don't hear every day. A truck driving school in Arizona is home to a chicken that's laid claim to the property. Toby Newman is the on-site manager for the Yuma Truck Driving School. He joins me now. Toby, I want to start off by asking you about the school, where it's located, how many students you typically have, and what do you offer?
Okay, well, we've been in business since 2010, and we offer Class A and Class B CDL training. With Class B, we do bus training with the Class B, so everyone gets a passenger endorsement as well. Generally, classes run about 4 weeks if they come full time, and we're in Yuma, Arizona, and we average about 12 starts every week.
Nice. Now, the truck driving school has been put on the map, I don't know, recently, I would say, but because of a rooster that has come about. Talk to me about that, how that's all come about.
Well, there's differing opinions to the chicken origin story. The latest info is he was spotted outside the gate, like across the street. So across the street is a little gas station, a very small truck stop. People said they saw him over there first, wandering around for a while, and he eventually made his way over onto our property. I guess he liked it over here better, so we started hanging out here. And so we were like, hey, this chicken's always here. So we started feeding him and putting out bowls of water for him, and he just stuck around. He does sleep next door in the junkyard, which is why I thought he originated from the junkyard originally, but I've been corrected on that.
When did he first start showing up at the grounds of the school?
It has been at least 2 years, possibly 3.
Oh, wow. So he's been around for a little while.
Correct.
And how long have you been at the school?
I've been here since 2010 as well.
And when he first started coming, like you said, they started giving him food and water. Did you expect him to keep coming back, or was that kind of a surprise over the months and years to come?
Oh, no, it was definitely a surprise. He's here. Poor thing's looking skinny. Let's give him some food. And, he found someone to feed him and water him. So he said, hey, I'm going to hang out here. I got it going okay over here.
Yeah, I mean, he sounds like he's living a pretty good life. And does he get lots of attention?
Oh, yeah. And it's surprising how comfortable he is around people. He'll walk right up to the students and just hang out. Like, he's not comfortable enough to let you, pick him up or pet him, but he'll stay within just a couple of feet of people. And so, yeah, he gets a lot of attention. People are always trying to get him to come over so they can pet him and, feed him or whatever.
And what do you typically feed him? Just like a chicken feed?
So we have a lot of recruiters that come to the school to obviously try and recruit our students to their company. And they usually bring food. So in the morning, they'll bring donuts, and at lunch, they usually bring pizza. So we start off with just giving them leftovers, like pizza crust or, half a donut or whatever. He's not very picky. And the longer he stays here, someone finally decided, let's buy him some food. So they bought a big old bag of chicken feed. And so, we give him actual chicken feed. And once in a while, one of the instructors will buy a big bag of dried grub worms. I guess chickens are really partial to grub worms. So we give them those as a treat once in a while. But mostly it's leftovers, and then, again, some standard chicken feed.
Wow. And so he sleeps at the junkyard every night. Is he at the school every day? Yes,
every morning. I'll have one instructor, Jack, is here every morning to open the place up. And when he opens up, Chester will come see him. He said some nights he walks into the office to kind of say hi, just to look around, check everything. He has been known to, believe it or not, walk up to a couple of instructors early in the morning and kind of rub on the side of their leg like a cat would. So he's done that several times to say hi in the morning, or maybe he's asking for food. I don't know.
And his name's Chester. Talk to me. How did that come about?
Okay, well, originally, the first instructor to start feeding him was Steve Bradbury, and he named him Foghorn Leghorn after the cartoon character. And so we called him Foghorn all the time. Everybody called him Foghorn. Steve had to move away. He had some personal things to take care of. So another instructor that was always started feeding him, Ralph. So Ralph started calling him Chester. And that just kind of stuck. It's easier to say. It rolls off the tongue better. And I don't know if you're aware, but there's obviously a national chain called Chester's Chicken at truck stops across the country. And so it kind of fits with the whole truck driving theme.
It'd be interesting if that company knew about Chester the chicken. That
they do.
Oh, they do.
They sent us a care package.
Oh, wow.
They sent us a care package and a letter that said, "Thank you for your interest in Chester Chicken. We think it's great." And they sent us some socks with their Chester Chicken logo on them and a bunch of stickers. And it was pretty funny. Yeah, they heard the story.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. And now talk to me about, I've seen a few pictures of Chester. He has a safety vest. Talk to me about how that came about.
So he's always out on the range, walking around. Obviously, the trucks are moving out there. And several times we had to shoo him away, like, "Hey, get out of the way." And we were joking about it. I joked about it with our head of marketing, Tara, and someone in her department looked it up. They Googled it, and just as a joke, Tara sent me a text and a photo and said, "They actually make chicken vests." And I was like, "No way." And so I got on Amazon and I purchased them. I'm like, I've got to have chicken vests. And so we had them for probably a month. It came in a 3-pack, a yellow one, a pink one, and a black one. So we had him about a month before we were able to capture him and put the vest on him. And he was a little uncomfortable with it the first day, but he got used to it right away. And he walks around with his vest on, and it doesn't seem to bother him. So we wanted to keep him safe and make him part of the family.
And he said he's not scared of people. Is he scared of the trucks at all that are driving around there?
No, that's why we have to shoo him away. He just walks out there like right next to the trucks while they're running, and just kind of walks around on the range and inspects everything while what's going on.
I'm curious, has he helped any of the students? I'm sure some of these new students are nervous about this new venture that they're going on and learning about the industry and driving. Do you feel like he's kind of lightened the mood and helped people?
Oh, absolutely. He definitely lightens the mood. And in general, we try and not be overly serious. We try and make it a fun atmosphere, which makes it more conducive to learning. And so, he definitely lightens the mood. Everybody's out there talking to the chicken and laughing about it. And they're like, "Why does he have a vest on?" And we're like, "Duh, so he doesn't get run over." Just so definitely lightens the mood and keeps the students entertained.
And this has garnered some attention. Talk to me a little bit about that. Yeah,
so I would just take random pictures of him when he was doing something I thought was entertaining, and I'd send them to Tara, who, as I mentioned, is our director of marketing, and she runs the school Facebook page. And so she started posting some of the pictures of Chester on the Facebook page, and we were surprised at the comments we got. It just snowballed from there. It just kept getting more and more comments, and people wanted to see more pictures of the chicken. So she's like, "I need more pictures." So I'd send more pictures, and then somehow some news organization got a hold of it. So we've had two different, in the last couple months, 2 different channels come out to the schools and interviewed several people and did a story about the rooster. And we had before that, it was an online source came or they called and interviewed with Tara and myself. And they're the ones that first published the story, and then that's how the news people got a hold of it. Mm-hmm. But one of the news people was from Phoenix, which is like 3 hours away. So it's pretty entertaining, and it's just crazy how it's taken off.
Why do you think it's a story that has taken off?
Because it's unusual and it's entertaining. People are like, well, that's pretty funny to see a rooster in a safety vest out there hanging out with students and the instructors. I think it's one of those unusual kind of heartwarming kind of things. Oh, that's neat,
I think in, the day and age of always hearing bad news, it's kind of one of those stories that I think would make anyone smile, and it's some good news, so it's refreshing.
All right.
Do you think this has, it's obviously brought attention to the trucking school. Have you had more inquiries? Has anyone come there because of this?
Oh, yes, for sure. We have had a couple of people, and I don't know if they were joking or not, but they're like, yeah, we just came to sign up just because of the rooster. So, yeah, like you said, it brings attention to the school, and people are like, oh, but that's something I could do. And, it looks like a fun place. They have a mascot, and, let's go check out that school.
And how has, is there still, do you find that there is a lot of interest in trucking and younger people getting into trucking? What is kind of like the age range of people who go to take the course?
It runs a very wide range. But yeah, we do have a lot of young people. We have a lot of retired people that are like, I always wanted to drive a truck, and I'm done with my career, and I just want to go drive now. But yeah, I would say our average age was probably going to be in the late 20s, 30s, early 30s. So we do get quite a bit of young people.
All right. And what has the reaction been like you said, posting photos online and stuff? I assume this garners a lot of comments. What are the most common questions that you get about Chester?
Probably how long has he been here, and how did he get here? And we're like, yeah, he just showed up and adopted us. We didn't go out and seek to have a rooster mascot.
What is the life expectancy of a rooster? Do you know?
No, we were just talking about that last week, and we don't know. And we're like, man, this is going to be tragic when he passes away. But yeah, I'm sure I could Google it. It's not something I have looked up. But
yeah,
we've had him for a couple of years, so I know my grandfather raised chickens, and so when my brother lives on my grandfather's place, there's still a bunch of chickens. So I know they'll live, just from experience, at least 5 years. But I don't know. I just know from seeing the same ones down there.
Mm-hmm. And you don't know how old Chester is, right?
No, he was grown when he started hanging out here. So he was not a chick or what they say, a teen. But I'm sure he was a young adult.
Does weather, rain, or anything, does that keep him away, or will he still come out?
Well, it very rarely rains here. But yeah, I've seen him out in the rain a few times. When it has been raining, he's just, been out there. And I think, he's cooling off as well. Mm. But yeah, I've taken some pictures of him drenched in rain.
And he always probably has the vest on, is that right?
Oddly enough, so in Yuma, our summers are murderously hot, like 118 degrees, right?
Goodness.
So we are concerned that he was going to get overheated with the vest on. So actually yesterday we caught him and took the vest off of him.
Okay.
Because we're concerned for his well-being. Obviously, we don't want it to get too hot. So our idea is after the summer, when it cools off, we'll catch him again and put the vest back on him.
That was Toby Newman with the Yuma Truck Driving School talking about Chester the chicken, who has made headlines for spending his days on campus as an honorary instructor at the school. To see photos, videos, and updates on Chester, you can visit Yuma Truck Driving School on Facebook. The school is also working on merchandise of Chester. For Landline Now, I'm Ashley Blackford. Stay tuned for more after this.
Every year, 28 million people are trafficked globally. The Your Roads, Their Freedom campaign seeks to raise awareness in the transport industry. Truck and bus drivers, be vigilant on the roads. If you see something suspicious, text 233-733 or be free.
Firestone tires are for more of everything, with more durability for more miles and more confidence in your fleet. Firestone's tested tires help fleets save with value where it matters most. Learn more at bridgestonenationalfleet.com/4moremiles.
Landline now, welcome back. We are into the month of July, and that means it's time to talk about a new issue of Landline magazine. Managing editor Jamie Jones, senior editor Mark Schremer, and associate editor Tyson Fisher join me now. Thank you all for coming in.
Hey, you're welcome, Ashley.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Now, Jamie, I want to start with you and the editor's page, which I always enjoy. You open this one up with a movie reference from Dodgeball, which I don't know if I've seen. And I know that's going to be one of those movies. Everyone's going to be like, what? You've never seen Dodgeball? I don't think I've seen it. Tell me more.
Well, this was another issue where I was definitely on the struggle bus trying to figure out a theme for the editor's page. And I think Mark has some sort of sick entertainment of this process because he's like, have there been any dog shows lately? And I was like, and so I'm in there cruising around on YouTube. It's amazing. I keep my job after I admit all the stuff that I go and look on work. Anyway, and I wound up watching a corgi dog race on ESPN The Ocho. Apparently, this is a real thing. So I'm watching clips, and I walk out of my office, and I go, did you know corgis can run up to 25 miles per hour? And they're like, what is wrong with you? Anyway, but The Ocho brought me back to, Dodgeball. And there's a pretty, I think it's an iconic scene. The whole movie is just one-liners strung together for the sake of humor. But the one scene where the tail end, it's the kind of the climax where Average Joe's Gym comes out. And here, we'll just play it, and we can watch it, and then I'll go ahead and finish my story.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Anyway, when Pepper says that, it's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see, I have used that on my kids so many times when they were younger and would do the dumbest stuff. And as that thought process kind of came together, it was like, oh my gosh, we've got the EPA on EV trucks. We've got, emission standard. We've got all these things. It's a bold strategy, Cotton, and I'm like, it just fit beautifully in that. It brought a little bit of humor for a very frustrating situation because I think a lot of what is highlighted in here is absolutely anybody who really wants to approach it from a pragmatic standpoint knows we're not ready for this stuff. It's a bold strategy that's not going to play out.
F&A, Cotton, F&A.
Now, diving into that bold strategy, we'll look at some of the issues with the new emission standards. Tyson, you wrote about the cost. What can truckers expect when it comes to the sticker price on these electric trucks?
A lot of money. To put it. There's been a lot of analysis going into this and how much it's going to cost, a lot of speculation. But the big study that came from Ryder, and they put out this study. They pretty much quantified what we all pretty much knew. And to make a long story short, what they discovered was the cost to electrify their fleet would basically double the cost of the trucking operation. So what that means is to get the same production output out of an electric truck as you would from a diesel truck, it would take 2 electric vehicles to get the same output as 1 diesel truck. And so therefore you would need 2 more human drivers. And so all these things just start to add up. And what they found was the cost to operate, like in Georgia, I believe it was, is about $300,000 for a diesel truck. For an electric truck, it's like more than $600,000. And so, and that's just to own the truck and to operate it. We're not talking about a whole lot of other opportunity costs with downtime for what it takes to charge these things. There's just so many variables involved in the electrification of vehicles that, I would like to say that was not considered when the emission rules were put out, but they had to be because we addressed these things. There were so many comments that were put out and they were ignored. And now we have stakeholders, including an association that represents dealerships, even passenger vehicle dealerships, are saying, man, I don't know how we're going to sell these cars because right now nobody wants them. And that's true with passenger vehicles now too. passenger vehicle electric vehicles have reached a slump in sales, and that's because basically what happened was there was a surge in electric vehicle sales, and what that surge represented was that everyone who wanted an electric vehicle got them. Well, now everyone who wants them has them, and now it's the rest of us. And so now we're in this situation, we're in a limbo right now. And the problem with that is we now have a federal government mandate to move forward with electric vehicles that's not in line with what the general public wants. And so it's going to be very costly to say the least.
So in the end, the bold strategy is to charge twice as much for half the efficiency and clog up the roads and, not add parking spaces because...
that too.
There you go.
Right.
Now, Mark, I know one of the major issues we've heard about when it comes to electric trucks is power, or should I say lack thereof. You wrote about this. Tell me more.
Yeah. So, I mean, going back to this bold strategy type of theme, these things you can look at good on paper. We want everybody, wants a cleaner environment and all of that. But if you're going to mandate this, there's got to be the infrastructure in place for for everybody to charge these vehicles. There's got to be a power grid that can, handle it. And what we're finding, I was going back and listening to several different hearings where people from trucking have talked about this. And one of them told a story about a trucking executive called up in Joliet, Illinois, called up the city officials and said, okay, we want to do this. We want to start a truck depot, 30 electric trucks. We want to get that set up. And they literally, and this is how I kind of started the story, they thought it was a joke. The city officials started laughing and saying, are you kidding me? That what you're asking for would take more power than the entire city power grid for 30 trucks. Yet, it's a bold strategy that we want all trucks nationwide to be doing this. And you have to have that framework in place before you can pull forward with something like that.
100%. And we're in the middle. A lot of us around the country are getting, the first round of super high temperatures. And it's already, you have the electric companies putting the message out, 2 degrees, raise your thermostat 2 degrees. I mean, you see it on Facebook or wherever. I will take down an entire power grid before I turn my thermostat up to 68. Everybody knows that we're getting ready to hit these rolling blackouts and other things like that. And so you think about the demand of something like that truck depot on top of it. No way.
Yeah.
I will take down an entire grid.
I mean, you can't mandate a vegan diet if all you have in your fridge is meat. You know what I mean? Yeah. and that's basically what they're asking for right now. It's not set up to do it, but we're saying, well, you have to.
And just for those who might be unaware, it's 2032. They want 25% of all new trucks sold.
Sleeper cab trucks. And then for day cabs, it's even a higher percentage. And so, it's right now, I believe, if I read it right, electric vehicle sales for commercial vehicles represents 0.1%. So we got a lot of ground to cover in the next coming years.
And not a lot of time, Now, Tyson, there has been some legal action taken against EPA's new truck emission rule. Tell me more about that.
So a couple. We got several Republican-led states that are challenging this, basically the emission standards. Then on top of that, OOIDA, along with some associations representing farmers and the gas and oil industry, have also filed suit against the federal government, basically saying the details of the arguments haven't been released yet. But the idea here is that this rule is essentially unconstitutional, that the EPA has overstepped its boundaries in establishing this rule. And so we got some Republicans in Congress that are challenging it. That's just a congressional challenge. I think it's more likely that a legal challenge in the court would be more successful. And so it's going to be a long process, but we have states, we have the public sector and the private sector both trying to fight this rule.
Well, and when you look at it, the climate that we're in right now, not to even have a play on words, but we're in a political season. We're up against an election. So for Congress to be able to get anything through meaningful with partisan politics heading into an election is going to be extremely difficult. So that path forward is going to be through litigation if they continue to pursue it.
And Tyson, another article of yours I wanted to
Did anybody else write anything in this magazine?
No.
Tyson, and back to Tyson.
Another one of your articles on the states that are challenging California's advanced clean fleets regulation. What is that about?
So, California has what's called the Advanced Clean Fleets Rule, and it's kind of similar to the federal emission standards, but even more strict than that.
What?
I know, right? California, get out of here. But for certain fleets, they have to go pretty much completely zero emission by, I think it was 2032. So all new sales or all new acquisitions of trucks would have to be zero emission. Now, you can keep the old ones, but if you're going to buy a new one, it's got to be zero emissions. So again, that's also being challenged by a coalition of Republican-led states. And I also believe the California Trucking Association and the Western States Trucking Association is challenging that as well. But similar, but again, California being California, much more strict.
And, all of this issue and all these stories that we just ran through, they really point at the shortcomings of electric vehicles. And that should never be confused with the free market having its right to decide if they want to adopt this technology, because there's nothing wrong. If it fits your operation, if you have the infrastructure, if you have all of that, and this is what you want to do with your business, great. Be able to do that. Where we have to highlight all of these things and show the shortcomings is because we have mandates that are being proposed. And anytime you start mandating technology that doesn't exist, that can't stand up to the test or anything like that, that's when we have to go on the offensive and show all of these shortcomings. It's not that electric vehicles don't have a place in the world. It's not any of that. I mean, you said people who want them can get them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the thing is, the biggest overhead cost for owner-operators is fuel. If electric vehicles, once they start to deliver economically feasibly, I don't see why any trucker would not get one. I mean, you're pretty much eliminating that biggest overhead cost. So once it's become, again, economically feasible, I mean, people are going to jump all over them. The problem is this mandate puts the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
And by doing so, it's actually going to cost the industry rather than save them any money.
Eventually, consumers.
Yeah,
it will get passed along.
Right. In that real quick, that Ryder report said that if we were to completely electrify fleets today, it could raise inflation by a complete percentage point. So, I mean, that's very significant.
No, we don't need that.
So that's kind of, so that kind of emphasizes how we're just not quite there yet.
Yeah. I was just going to say, it reminded me of automatic emergency brakes.
Uh-huh.
If those worked the way that everybody said, that wanted to, truckers would get them on their own. If you let the market play out, and if technology actually works, people will get it on their own, and you don't have to mandate it.
Right. It'll creep in. It'll be its own thing. It's like anti-lock brakes.
Yeah.
I mean, years ago when those were first, pitched, everybody was throwing a fit about them. And now we have them on everything and nobody realizes it because the technology is so advanced now that, that's just a good example of where a mandate was, again, premature, but eventually the tech caught up to everything. Yep. So, I mean, we never want to be seen as saying, don't do this. It's just don't mandate it. Mm-hmm. I think that's the big distinction on this stuff.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you all very much for the information.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Our thanks to Jamie Jones, Mark Schremer, and Tyson Fisher of Landline Magazine. You can also check out landline.media for the latest from the trucking industry. And if you have a news tip, you can contact us through our website or call 816-229-5791. For Landline Now, I'm Ashley Blackford. We'll be back after this.
Today's rising costs affect everyone. Replace your harmonic damper with a genuine Vibertech TVD viscous damper to prevent costly repairs and downtime. Keep your money in your pocket and your truck on the road with Vibertech TVD. Recommended replacement at 500,000 miles or 15,000 hours.
Ready to make more money? Use a better load board. For a limited time, get 50% off Truckstop Loadboard Pro. Just go to truckstop.com/go and enter promo code READY2024 when you purchase Loadboard Pro.
Are you tired of the IRS following you around like a dark cloud? Call 888-557-4020 and get your life back.
Since you started, what you've loved about trucking is the freedom. Heading out on your favorite route, a good driving song, and thinking about truck insurance. Well, maybe not that last one. That's why we're here. At OOIDA, we have a full range of truck insurance products, expert advice, and great customer service, helping you get the right coverage for your operation. Go to OOIDA.com because your job is to drive. Our job is to help with everything else.
Landline now, welcome back. If you traveled through Ohio last week, you may have spotted a Superload that went from Adams County to Licking County. Matt Bruning joins me now to talk about the load. He is the press secretary for the Ohio Department of Transportation. Matt, talk to me more about how this all played out.
Yeah, so this was one of the largest Superloads of the 24 or so we have or will be moving here over the next couple of months. And the first couple went to a plastics recycler in Hebron. All of these are now going to Intel, including this largest load, which tipped the scales at more than 916,000 pounds. It's about 280 feet long. It was a huge piece of equipment that was going to the Intel plant in Licking County. We had to get it all the way from the Ohio River to Central Ohio, so it took us about 9 days to make that trip.
Wow. Talk to me a little bit more about what it is, what it does, and the size, length. You mentioned the weight.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know a lot about the what it is and what it does, but I can tell you it is a cold box for Intel, and I know it's used in the chip making process. Beyond that, we just know it's a really big box that has to get there. So ODOT's role has been, making sure that our infrastructure can handle a piece of equipment this large, 23 feet tall, 20 feet wide, 280 feet long, and again, more than 916,000 pounds. So this was a large piece of equipment. It presented some challenges for sure, but our team, along with Edwards, which was the company that moved it, did a great job getting that thing from point A to point B.
And what is the planning process like for moving something of this size?
It starts really early. In fact, about a year or even a year and a half ago. And it starts with a lot of meetings. So first of all, what does the client want to haul? What are they trying to move? That is question number one. And then what is the size of it? And then once we know that little bit of information, we can start analyzing routes, because what we need to look at is, can the bridges and the roadways handle that weight? Do we have any overhead obstructions, for example, that would be a problem for the height of that particular load? Are there any turns where the width and the length might be an issue? Are the roads wide enough? Do we need to go contraflow, meaning are we going northbound in the southbound lanes, for example, on a highway? Do we need to go up and over a exit ramp because we can't get under the overpass? So there are a lot of things that we had to take into account to plot out a route to make sure that this could get from a dock site down in Adams County along the Ohio River to this new Intel plant being constructed in Licking County in central Ohio to the east of Columbus. And well over 100 miles that we had to traverse. And you got to make sure you can do that safely above all. So that was a big part of the planning process. And then, of course, just getting the escort team together. The Ohio State Highway Patrol has to escort this through the state of Ohio. So we had to make sure we had enough troopers for the traffic control. Working with the hauler, they had to get utility crews in and companies that could raise and lower power lines and traffic signals. And then just working with the stakeholders. There were a lot of communities along this route.
Do you know what the speed was that they were able to go with this?
This latest one topped out, I think, at one point at 13 miles per hour, and that was on a straight stretch of US 23. Outside of that, it was pretty much walking speed. There was really only one or two times, I guess I should say, along the route that when I was out walking ahead of it, I kind of had to jog to stay ahead of it because it was picking up some speed. For the most part, this was walking speed, very, very slow and methodical move.
And obviously, communication, I would think, is a big part of your role, but a big part of getting it out to the community to know that this is going to be happening. Talk to me more about that.
Yeah, it was very important that we let people know. Generally, we move a lot of these large loads in the state of Ohio. We're a state that makes and moves things. And so there are super loads, I won't say infrequently, across Ohio. We normally don't make too big of a deal about it because it's usually a one and done kind of thing. In this case, we knew we were going to have about 24 of these super loads going through the same route and at a pretty frequent rate. I mean, we've almost, save for a couple of weeks, had one per week so far. That's a lot of impact to people, and we realize that. So we kind of took a different game plan with these and said, we're going to get out ahead of this and almost over communicate. We're going to put out, we stood up a whole web page for it. We've set up an email list that people can subscribe to that gets them an update each day about what the next day's load, move, and route is going to be. We've been posting a lot of like turn by turn almost updates on social media to let people know, because we want people to plan ahead. If you've got a doctor's appointment, we don't want you to miss that doctor's appointment because you didn't know that this super load was moving on the roadway. We want you to be able to plan ahead and know, well, this thing might be in my community around noon and I've got a doctor's appointment at 1:00. I should probably leave earlier so that I can make sure I avoid it. And we had a lot of people tell us, thank you so far for these updates, because they have helped. And that's what we're trying to do, is just give people that information so they can plan ahead and make decisions based on that.
And I think anytime a super load goes through anywhere, it does gain a lot of attention. What has that been like? Of course, lots of media outlets, I'm sure, have been contacting you.
Yeah, we've had a lot of media attention to this. We've had a lot of community engagement, which is cool. It serves two parts there. You know, I mean, it is interesting to see something this big move through your community. It's not something you see every day, for sure. And so there is an interesting aspect to this, and, you know, curiosity aspect to it. But also, it's cool to be able to showcase what Ohio as a state can do, what ODOT can do, what these haulers can do, what the economic value of a company like Intel coming to Ohio and being able to move this stuff across our infrastructure can do. It's a showcase of really the economic power of Ohio, that, like, yes, you can bring a company here and this is not a deterrent. We can move all kinds of things to get you what you need to do business in Ohio. So I think there's that. It's a couple of things. It's kind of showing off, but also that curiosity factor as well.
And talk to me a little bit more about the curiosity factor when it came to, I know you were with the load some. What were people's reactions like who saw it going through?
I think a lot of it was just they couldn't believe how big this one was, especially with the situation here. This was the 12th super load that we've moved on this route here this year. And some people have obviously come out to see several of them and you know, have talked about how large these, you know, 300,000 pound loads are, for example. And we've been warning them. Those are going relatively smoothly. When we move these 900,000 pound, these largest loads, it is going to be a lot more impactful. So be ready for it. And I think the reactions from people has been like, yes, you were right. It has been more impactful. And two, holy cow, I had no idea these things were going to be that large. I mean, they have quite literally been 3 times the size of some of the other loads that have moved. And so I think that that has really caught people's attention. And the coolest thing for me, honestly, Ashley, has been seeing the kids that come out, you know, and I mean, who among us hasn't done the pumping of the arm to try to get that trucker to honk their horn? And we've seen that so many times, and we're blessed with a great crew from Edwards that obliged and honked the horn several times, and you'd hear the kids scream and yell and cheer. And so it's been fun to see that, and just bringing communities together to see this, you know, curiosity come through their community has been kind of cool to see.
That's awesome. And lastly, now you mentioned this is one of about 24 loads that are going through. When is the next one planned for?
So the next one, we haven't locked down the date, but it will be after the July 4th holiday. We're also looking at ways we can, you know, maximize our time on the routes. So there may be a couple of days that we've been able to combine moves and go a little further than we did with the first one. And that's something we saw with the very first of these super loads. We would learn things about the route, where maybe a utility line that snagged us on the first leg of it, make sure we don't do that again on the second leg and we get ahead of it. And then all of a sudden we've now gained some time and we can go a little further. So I think you'll see us, instead of doing a 9 to 10 day move, it may be a 7 to 8 day move. So we're still trying to get those logistics worked out. And so we haven't locked everything down, but it will be after the 4th of July holiday.
For more information, you can visit transportation.ohio.gov. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and be sure to join us again tomorrow at the same time. I'm Ashley Blackbird, and you're listening to Landline Now.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you want more content, go to landline.media to get updated news, information, and archived editions of our show. Once again, that's landline.media.
Penske owns and operates some of the best-maintained vehicles on the planet. Our used trucks come with a 5-year maintenance report and pre-sale inspection. So if you're in the market for a top-quality pre-owned truck, look no further. Search our inventory today at PenskeUsedTrucks.com.
Control your toll costs and eliminate tolling headaches with Prepass Tolls. Prepass Tolls means toll volume discounts. Just one invoice for all tolls and fewer violations. Call 877-878-5970 or go to Prepass.com.
I'm a dad,
a son,
a husband,
wife.
I'm a writer,
photographer.
I farm.
I'm a veteran.
I love old cars, fishing,
my kids,
chrome.
And I am
a professional truck driver.
And together we are OOIDA.
OOIDA was founded by truckers to stand up and speak on behalf of truckers. We've done that by combining the individual voices of our members into a single, powerful voice. Protecting your interests, defending your rights.
Join us! Make your voice heard. Join OOIDA, the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association. Call 1-800-444-5791 or visit OOIDA.com.